Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. So I have two things I want to share with you. Recently, I don't really know why. I feel like I've been attacked spiritually. It feels like the adversary is raging, and I have two stories I want to share. I don't know if they're related. There's been like a string of things happening, events, attacks, whatever you want to call them. And I feel like it's all related, but I don't know. But these are just some personal things, but I think there's something that you could probably take away from this. I'm going to be talking about priesthood blessings in the second half of the video. But the first half, it has to do with the elections. You know, before the elections, I did a number of videos talking about the fact that we need to be peacemakers and not add to the chaos and be agents of stability and unity. Not just with people within the church, but everyone that we know. Try and be united. Try and find common ground and be disciples of Christ. And this like first thing here. So this was after the elections. I had a dream one night. It was like the last dream before I woke up that morning. And I had a dream that I was at my parents' house. My dad was alive. He passed away some years ago, but it was my dad, my mom, another family member, me. I think my family, like my wife and kids, were there too. So I just pulled up this stock photo from Pexels to give you a visual, but it was something like this. And we were sitting down to eat dinner, and it was time to say prayer. And this other family member, and by the way, we don't pray with like this, holding hands, but that's cool if you do, but we don't do that. This other family member gave the prayer, and this person has like gone astray, like far, far, far outside the church, living almost in every single way opposite to what the church teaches. But he was giving the prayer, and he ended it by saying, in the name of, please bless this food, in the name of Zeus and Poseidon and Thor, and just like all these pagan polytheistic gods. And it was made clear in the dream that he was doing that to upset the family, like as a slap in the face, because he excluded Jesus Christ. And there was a bad feeling. And then his friends started showing up at the house, just like these other friends that are just as like shady and just living these bad lifestyles. They started showing up at the house, and they weren't like antagonistic, but they were kind of like drawing him away. And then, he didn't eat with us. He went with his friends, and there wasn't much more to the story or more details I could give, but the general feeling was that, he was deciding to go with them. He was like leaving us, like not just for the meal, but like the greater context of this was that he was leaving our family spiritually. And so I woke up and I just had like this uneasy feeling. I don't typically dream about like my family. Like my current family, my wife and kids. Yeah, sometimes, but like my parents and extended family and stuff, no, like not hardly ever, and not really this person that I'm talking about. It's very rare. And at this point, it's been like maybe a year or more since I've spoken to him. And so I had this dream, woke up, felt disturbed, unsettled, and I was about to make a video for YouTube. This was like a few days ago. And to my surprise, as I was about to start the video, a call was coming in, and it was not from Megan, by the way. I dated a Megan one time, but anyway, the name on the phone was his name. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening right now? I don't have a good feeling about this phone call, though. Based on that dream that I had just a few hours before, this is not feeling like it's going to go well. And surprise, it didn't. I answer the phone, and immediately he's like, Jared, did you vote for Trump? And I was like, yeah. Do I need, like, I don't feel like I need to explain that. Like, why am I being interrogated? And then he was like, I can't believe that. Like, how could you do that? Do you not care about women? Do you not care about transgender people? Do you not care about blah, 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 blah? And just like started accusing me of all these things, of not being caring, loving. But like he was like hysterical. There was no reasoning with him. And I didn't dig in. I wasn't like, well, just because I voted for Trump doesn't mean that I don't love women. Like, you got it wrong. I wasn't like arguing. I was trying to, calm things down and see if we could just kind of, calm it down, be in our right minds and talk it out and whatever, and let him know, of course, I still love you. This has nothing to do with that. But I did not have the chance to like really get to that point. Then he just hung up. Before he hung up, he was like, okay, I do not ever want to see you again. I never want to talk to you. I'm ashamed that you're my family member, and this is it. Goodbye. And then he hung up. And if it would have been the old days, okay, there's some of you that I'm not trying to take away from this story, but this, if you're younger, this is called a telephone. It's similar to your smartphone. This is a public telephone. And in the old days, when you were mad, you could angrily hang up the phone, hit it against things, and it would make a loud sound as it's getting hung up. And that's essentially what he would have done. And that's like definitely the feeling that I had, is that he just abruptly ended the call and was very angry. And then I was just like, I just sat back in my chair and I'm like, what just happened? What just happened? So, the bigger picture is there's been a lot of people, and there always is, people on both sides that become unhinged when their candidate loses. It's both sides. It's every side. I'm not, this isn't a political video about whatever. This time it feels kind of intense from what I've seen though. Just on social media, it seems like there's been a lot of intense reactions. So that's like a part of it, obviously, but I feel like there is more going on. I feel like, the adversary is attacking because this was part of a cluster of things that happened. I'm not going to name it all, but this was like one of those things. So, this person unfriended me from Facebook and all the other accounts that I have, and we'll see what happens, but I do think it's going to be a long time before I talk to it. It may not be in this life ever again. I really think that's based on, my entire life knowing him. So I'm upset about it. I'm sad. I pray for him. I pray that his heart will be softened. And I sent a follow-up text saying, my door is always open. I can see that you're upset, but I am slow to anger and you're always welcome in my life. So if you change your mind, let me know. It was like along those lines. Okay. So this happened, right? So this is the first story. The second story is, and this happened around the same time, just within like days, is, my girls, they have ADHD, and it kind of manifests differently in both of them. One of them, she may have something more than just ADHD. We need to get that checked out. It's a little bit more complicated. But recently, like they're, because one of the symptoms is emotional dysregulation, right? So when they get angry, they can get like really angry. And there was kind of a lot of that stuff going on. A lot of just kind of like outbursts and in conflict within our family. It's been a very trying thing. And one day, it got to the point where I was getting a little bit nervous. How far it had gone, the angry outbursts. And so I asked one of them, I was like, do you want a priesthood blessing? And at first she was like, no, I don't want a priesthood blessing. And then just a few seconds later, she reversed and she's like, no, actually, okay, yes, let's do a priesthood blessing. And so you have to know, I personally, I've always had a issue with priesthood blessings. It's kind of a long story, but I tend to feel kind of uncomfortable giving them because I've seen so many people in my life that they'll give priesthood blessings. It doesn't even have to be a priesthood blessing. I've seen people get very emotional, whether it's like bearing their testimony or giving a blessing or just saying a regular prayer. And I'm not going to like explain it here, but just trust me when I say I feel almost like the pressure is put on me to cry or to get really emotional like that when I give a priesthood blessing, and it just feels uncomfortable. I don't like the pressure. I know that there's not pressure. I know that there's not, but in my mind over all the years, it feels like I'm expected to, if I don't cry or if I don't get very emotional, then it's like, what's wrong with you? Do you not feel the Spirit? And I know it's not like that. So, okay, so moving on. So I'm just saying that because it's unusual for me to offer a priesthood blessing. That's how bad this was. So I gave it. I gave the blessing, and I was led by the Spirit. And I had thought back to what President Nelson has said about giving priesthood blessings, which I'm going to share a few quotes, which is probably going to be applicable to you and to me going forward as we get closer to the second coming and as the world becomes more and more unhinged and everybody is losing their doggone minds. So I was thinking back to President Nelson and what he said about priesthood blessings, where he's like, no, actually give a blessing. Don't just say a prayer, give a blessing. Some people don't seem to understand what priesthood blessings are. You can bless people, pronounce blessings. Don't just say a prayer. And so I did. And among those things, I prayed that if there were any evil spirits or anything around, that they would go, that they would be cast out. I didn't think that my child was like, possessed, but like we don't know, we can't see. And so why not? When people are kind of like acting unusual and just like overly angry, why not just include that in the blessing and be like, if there's any evil spirits around, then they need to go. They have to go. They're cast out. So I did that, and guess what? It worked. She's been much better ever since. And I did it with the other daughter too. And also, just in case, I asked for any evil spirits to leave if there were any hanging around. And there's been a peace in our house. So I'm just letting you know that may not be a bad idea if you've been having contention in your house. You don't have to like do like the movies, like do an exorcism, but a simple priesthood blessing and including that probably wouldn't hurt. So just something to think about. It seems to have worked for us. So those are the two stories, and there's been more. I wish I could give everybody a priesthood blessing, because just everyone has been kind of, not everyone, but a lot of people have kind of been interesting lately. So let's look at what President Nelson said in the April 2018 General Conference in a talk called Ministering with the Power and Authority of God. Now, may I voice a concern? It is this. Too many of our brothers and sisters do not fully understand the concept of priesthood power and authority. They act as though they would rather satisfy their own, their own selfish desires and appetites than use the power of God to bless his children. And he has said in another talk, please don't let your prayers sound like a shopping list for yourself. We do need to ask things for ourselves, but Some people only do that and they don't think about others. All right, so continuing. I fear that too many of our brothers and sisters do not grasp the privileges that could be theirs. There's a footnote for that. I'm not going to read over it because it'll make the video go too long, but you can pause and read this if you'd like, or I'll put a link for this talk in the description box below. Okay, but he points out some interesting things here. He continues, some of our brethren, for example, act like they do not understand what the priesthood is and what it enables them to do. Let me give you some specific examples. So here's example number 1. Not long ago, I attended a sacrament meeting in which a new baby was to be given a name and a father's blessing. The young father held his precious infant in his arms, gave her a name, and then offered a beautiful prayer. And he puts the word prayer in italics. But he did not give that child a blessing. The sweet baby girl got a name, but no blessing. That dear elder did not know the difference between a prayer and a priesthood blessing. With his priesthood authority and power, he could have blessed his infant, but he did not. I thought, what a missed opportunity. Let me cite some other examples. We know of brethren who set sisters apart as primary young women or Relief Society leaders and teachers, but fail to bless them with the power to fulfill their callings. They give only admonitions and instructions. We see a worthy father who fails to give his wife and his children priesthood blessings when that is exactly what is needed. And so believe me, I think there's probably times in my life that I have missed opportunities when my family needed it. Not this time, thankfully. So think about it, guys. Priesthood power has been restored to this earth, and yet far too many brothers and sisters go through terrible trials in life without ever receiving a true priesthood blessing. He says, a true priesthood blessing. So with an actual blessing, not just a prayer or instructions or admonitions. What a tragedy. That's a tragedy that we can eliminate. Brethren, we hold the holy priesthood of God. We have his authority to bless his people. Just think of the remarkable assurance the Lord gave us when he said, whomsoever you bless, I will bless. It is our privilege to act in the name of Jesus Christ, to bless God's children according to his will for them. Stake presidents and bishops, please ensure that every member of the quorums within your stewardship understands how to give a priesthood blessing, including the personal worthiness and spiritual preparation required to call fully upon the power of God. Okay, just 2 more. This is from the April 2019 General Conference, a talk by President Nelson called We Can Do Better and Be Better. He says, my dear brethren, you were chosen by our Father to come to earth at this crucial time because of your premortal spiritual valor. You're among the finest, most valiant men who have ever come to the earth. Satan knows who you are and who you were premortally. So Satan doesn't have the veil like we do. He knows who we were and what we trained to come here to do. And he understands the work that must be done before the Savior returns. And after millennia of practicing his cunning arts, the adversary is experienced and incorrigible. So let me just stop right there. I can think of maybe several reasons why I feel like I've received attacks lately in this like cluster of attacks. And I think about this. And you might think about yourself too, times when you have these things happen. It's probably because of what you're doing that's good. That helps to gather scattered Israel. That's blessing others. Or when you're improving spiritually, like when you're repenting and you're changing your life and you've reached a certain threshold. So Satan has practice and he knows what he's doing and he knows your potential and he wants to stop that. All right, continuing. Gratefully, the priesthood we hold is far stronger than are the wiles of the adversary. I plead with you to be the men and women, the men and young men. Oh, this must have been like the priesthood session of that conference. The Lord needs you to be. Make your focus on daily repentance so integral to your life that you can exercise the priesthood with greater power than ever before. This is the only way you will keep yourself and your family spiritually safe in the challenging days ahead. So that it took me a while to find this talk, but I knew that he had said this. And this is key. Like I said, as we get closer and closer to the second coming, there's going to be more and more opposition. And it's not, I think sometimes people, they get off into the weeds and the theories that people make up about, oh, it's going to be the United Nations. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. Maybe, maybe. But you guys, I think just like all the other signs of the times, it's already happening. The Lord is hastening his work. He's asking people to do more, to be more. And when you experience these kind of things in your life, that's, I think, what he's talking about. He says, this is the only way you can keep yourself and your family spiritually safe in the challenging days ahead. So repent and use the priesthood. Use the priesthood. Okay, the last one. Let's see. This is Embrace the Future with Faith. October 2020 General Conference. I invite you, my dear sisters, to create a home that is a place of security. And I renew my invitation for you to increase your understanding of priesthood power. So I think he's pointing back to like this talk of talking about these people that didn't really understand how to give priesthood blessings. And I renew my invitation for you to increase your understanding of priesthood power. Oh my gosh, of priesthood power and of temple covenants and blessings. Having places of security to which you can retreat will help you embrace the future with faith. So, yeah, we're not going to really have a place of security if we have the adversary in our home and we've invited him with the movies that we watch or the bad jokes that we tell, like the inappropriate jokes, the media, just in general, the media that we consume, maybe sometimes the type of people that we have at our house. We need to keep our house clean, both literally clean. Like we need to clean up our house. That helps invite the Spirit, is to have a clean home, have it organized, but then have it clean spiritually as well. So I would invite everybody to do that as I do it myself. And, I hope that this kind of thing hasn't happened to you. Someone just out of the blue, just berating you because of how you voted, or it could be some other thing. I've heard countless stories. I've experienced them. I've heard them just where you'll just like out of nowhere, just get attacked. It just happens. And we don't know what's in the other person's heart. It could be mental illness. It could be the adversary working on them. It could be both. So just be aware there are forces out there that want to do you harm. And if you get attacked out of the blue, again, it's probably because you're doing something good at the moment. And the adversary is trying to like demoralize you. Okay, well, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video if you liked it, leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.